What's up, millionaires in the making? Welcome back to another episode of the MITM podcast, where we unlock success daily by journeying through the 6 pillars. And right now, it is January, the month of orientation. And as we orient ourselves today, we're talking about how standards are self-respect in action. With that being said, run my intro.
Caught up in them bright lights, lusting for shiny things that's golden. Everything ain't always what it seems, that it's soaking. Chasing my dreams, coming apart at my seams. Best believe that the money is the motive.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of the MITM podcast. Standards reflect how you value yourself. This is something that is so important and so integral that so many people are missing. They're not just arbitrary rules. They're self-imposed criteria that when you express it, when you live by it, you show what you believe you deserve. You start to outline and create boundaries to say, this is what I will accept. This is what I will not accept. Like, these are the things I welcome into my life. These are some of the non-negotiables that have to be in my life. When you set and uphold standards, you're concretely acting on your internal sense of worth and dignity. And this is so vital because people with that strong internal standard consistently make choices aligned with personal values instead of just reacting to impulses and external approval. This is something that's so critical. And many of us, I know I'm definitely guilty of this. Many of us have not set certain standards in their lives. And when you don't do that, it just lets unwanted things enter into your experience. Things that could have been avoided. And when we think of self-respect, we have to be aware that it's grounded in choosing actions consistent with your values. And we talk a lot about values here. Guys, even in my book, Stop Drifting, we have an entire chapter just talking about values, talking about credo, talking about way of life. And psychological research defines self-respect as recognizing your own worth, living in ways that honor that worth, honoring commitments to yourself, and rejecting situations that violate those values. So when you cultivate standards for how you treat yourself, you're putting self-respect into behavior and taking it out of just being a belief. You can really see how it starts to shift things in your life. Now, when you meet your own standards, you say you're going to do it, and then you actually do it. And you show up like that over and over and over again. When you meet your own standards, you start to have a positive internal view of your ideal self. And this can be another thing that motivates you into the directions that you want to be living in. This is one of the things that's going to help you get towards your dream life sooner than later. When we start to set these standards, our goals are no longer abstract. I tell my friends all the time, these are the non-negotiables in your life. I've been having so many conversations recently about identity with folks. I mean, maybe part of it is because that's kind of the theme of the month. But someone that works out, someone that has the identity as someone that works out, works out. Someone that has the identity of someone that parties, parties. And that's their internal standards. And it reinforces their self-image. And this is a loop that ends up happening over and over and over again. When you start to live with your standards, you shape how you see yourself. And the more that you act on them, the stronger your identity becomes in the long run. And the stronger your identity is, the better your life can be, you know? I tell folks you should be stubborn. You should have pig-headed discipline. You should be unwavering. And see where your life goes from there. Now, when we really think about self-respect, it involves morals, and it involves personal accountability. Hold on, I'm definitely chewing gum. I shouldn't do that while I'm on the podcast. Sorry, guys. I hope you didn't hear me chewing away. Now, when you're doing the right work, it distinguishes self-respect from general self-esteem. These are two different things. And when you start to see major sources of self-respect coming from your acting and actions, and it aligns with your internal moral compass, you're doing what you ought to do and standing behind your principles. The more that you're aligned with that internal integrity instead of external validation, you will have stronger, deeper, more rooted self-respect instead of always seeking external approval. Because external approval can be taken away at any moment. But if you are strong within, you're pretty blessed. Now, upholding your standards will start to build resilience, and it will start to build autonomy. More recently, there's been work on self-acceptance and self-esteem pathways. And the more you do those work or do that work, it'll indicate how much or how you're living in an aligned way, how you're aligning yourself with those values. If we think about a roadmap, we review, we organize ourselves, we align ourselves with the future that we want. You got to own your values and own your standards. This is how we start to enhance our confidence. This is how we start to solidify our emotional stability. This is how we start to have greater self-efficacy. The more that your actions reflect your standards, you avoid the internal conflict that comes from compromise. And this strengthens your resilience, your power, your agency. Now, that pretty much wraps up today's episode of the MITM podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I would love to hear from you guys. What are some things you do to value yourself? What are some things you do to stay grounded? How have you been meeting your standards? What are some of your non-negotiables? Like, I'm actually really curious of what some of yours are. I should probably share some of mine in the comments under this, but I want to hear from you guys. With that being said, like I said, that wraps up today's episode. Stay blessed by the best. Remember to sign up for the Money Mastery Dash, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace.